Ceann Comhairle, I'm very pleased, I'm very pleased today to move the motion that Dáil Éireann has confidence in the Minister for Housing and Local Government, Deputy Darragh O'Brien. Minister O'Brien took up office at one of the most difficult moments in our modern history. The largest public health crisis and fastest moving recession to ever hit our country had brought a sudden halt to most aspects of economic and social life. That was a moment of great uncertainty about the future and for every minister. They were responsible for making sure that public services kept functioning and that urgent help was provided for families, businesses and communities facing very real threats to their health and livelihoods. Minister O'Brien dealt with the challenges faced by his department with great dedication and commitment. He ensured that local authorities received extensive aid at a critical moment of need and that services were restored as quickly as possible. Critically, he also did not wait to begin work on addressing the most important challenge he and all public representatives face, which is to significantly increase the supply of homes for people to buy or rent. As I've said, no matter how serious a problem there is, there are those who are willing to claim that nothing has been achieved until everything has been achieved. The only way of delivering more homes to buy or rent is to implement a full series of actions which deal with every element of the problem. More training places for critical trades, faster planning and development procedures, a new era in social housing, support for affordable homes for lower and middle income earners. These and many other elements are essential to step-changing housing delivery for our growing population. The plans which Minister Darragh O'Brien has developed and is implementing are already making a difference. Tána planna tá forbartha agus cura bhaimige agus ag déanamh chun cinn suntasach agus ahrú chun na maithasa chéna féin fud fad na tíre. When you put aside, Ceann Comhairle, the angry bluster and the populist nonsense, what you see is a hard-working and creative minister who has led his department well in the last 2.5 years. He has substantially changed the direction of housing policy, introducing a new era of building social and affordable homes, and is implementing the first comprehensive programme for action, not just on one or two elements of the housing sector, but on every element. And what's more, this action is starting to work. In spite of being directly and personally targeted by opposition parties and their online trolls, he has won every debate on this topic, exposing the vacuum which lies behind the mock anger and book-length emptiness of those who pretend to care about housing but just see it as another topic to exploit. This is unfortunately a very populist moment that we live in. It is increasingly hard for even the most important issues to be debated in a serious way. For example, as we saw during the rollout of the vaccines, even one of the most successful programmes in the world was still relentlessly attacked in political and media for failing to deliver everything immediately. According to this approach, until everything has been achieved, nothing can be acknowledged, and there is no such thing as a complex answer. There is a clear and widening divide between those in this House who actually want to serve the people and those who are only ever interested in playing cynical politics. There is a difference between those who believe that ours is a country which has achieved great things but must still overcome urgent challenges, and those who will mount any passing platform to claim that nothing has ever been achieved in what they claim to be a failed state. They fake empathy for every group, but systematically refuse to show how their growing cascade of promises can be achieved. We are perhaps unique in Europe in having an opposition which stands on every side of most issues, claiming to support action on climate, but touring the country to find groups who want to hear them oppose every concrete step to combat the climate emergency, pretending to support Europe, but systematically voting against it and condemning it at every opportunity, showing mock concern for workers, but constantly attacking policies central to supporting thousands of well-paid jobs. And then there is housing, perhaps the area where the opposition trots out its rehearsed anger most, but where its actions are almost breathtakingly cynical. A collection of people who angrily demanded that we implement a disastrous zero-COVID policy has not even the slightest credibility to anyone who cares to take the time to examine exactly what they propose when attacking the government and its ministers. I think it is important for us all to note that at the start of this debate, that the opposition is not actually in the slightest bit interested in more homes being delivered. The sole reason why we're having this debate is that they thought it would give them another opportunity to attack the government. Their problem is that they are attacking a minister who is already making a significant positive impact and where the measures being put in place are starting to deliver. Any honest debate about housing must start from the central fact that there has been a major increase in the demand for homes due to a rising population and a rising number of separate households. Within this, we have the exceptional response required to deal with supporting people whose homes are under attack in a vicious invasion and war against a democratic state. Any honest debate about housing will hear the stories of those in difficulty, but will also acknowledge the full picture. It will hear about those who find house prices impossible for them, but it will also acknowledge that new policies are having an impact, with 16,000 first-time buyers in the past 12 months. And any honest debate about housing must acknowledge that of all the public policy areas, this is one which requires sustained action for reform and investment over a significant period. The Housing for All policy agreed by the government and being implemented is unprecedented in its scale and ambition. It represents a radical, direct public intervention in the housing market. The claims that it is somehow an ideologically market-driven strategy are manifest nonsense. This government has agreed and put in place funding of €4 billion per year to implement the plan. If you want a dramatic demonstration of the emptiness of opposition housing policies, look no further than the fact that this is 40% bigger than the amount called for by Sinn Féin. So when it comes to public investment in housing, we are delivering significantly more than the opposition demanded. Our plans address every element of housing provision, starting with the most basic of training for more craftspeople to build and renovate homes. Thousands of new apprenticeships are in place, and they're also training people in new and urgently needed skills, including those who will support our programme to insulate social and private housing, to reduce energy bills on a permanent basis and help in meeting climate targets. Because of our policies, there are today 20,000 more people working in construction than there were before the pandemic. Any fair person knows that a major blockage in housing is also found in the length and complexity of our planning procedures. Almost no other country experiences the type of systematic objections and legal actions used to try to stop so many projects. Added to this, the policy of the largest opposition party to systematically oppose significant developments using an ever-changing list of reasons. Every single politician and party have spoken against some projects, but no one has ever come near the industrial-scale opposition to constructing homes, which is a defining part of Sinn Féin's electoral strategy. There are literally thousands of homes which they have sought to block in Dublin alone, over 5,000 since the last election. And while they have not always succeeded, they have often delayed vital projects. And this is not an accident, it's a policy, and it's an abuse by a party which desperately wants housing to remain as an issue to be exploited. Reform to planning laws is an essential part of delivering more homes and faster. We must protect the right of individuals to be heard and for legitimate concerns to require the revision of projects. However, the balance to date has made Ireland an outlier in how long and how often legitimate projects are delayed. This must change, and it will change with the new legislation which we will be publishing shortly. Priority will be given to speed up decisions in relation to social, affordable and cost rental housing. It is unfortunately already clear that the opposition will vote against this legislation, once again claiming to care while trying to block action. This government believes in the state playing the central role in providing for people who cannot otherwise find housing. And that is why we've initiated a new era in the state purchasing, building and renovating social homes. There have already been over 18,000 social homes added under Minister O'Brien's tenure, including over 11,000 newly constructed social homes. We are implementing a range of major supports to tackle derelict sites and bring them back to use as homes. The time available in this debate does not allow me to go into detail in every area, But the progress in which we've made in relation to helping people buy their own homes is not even acknowledged, because the members opposite hold an ideological position of opposing schemes which help people to own a home. In these and in many other areas, any fair evaluation of the record of Minister O'Brien and the Government will acknowledge that progress has begun despite the unprecedented challenges of the last 2 years. He has not only produced a clear, ambitious strategy, but he is also implementing it, and it is making a difference. Gnásan in níos tapúla planála, tógála agus forbatha. Ré nua I dithíocht ho sílte. Taoiseach de hithe in achfanna dóisiúd income ísil nó manach. Tá siad go léir agus elementí riachtaнаcha eile chun natharú ó bhain a dhéanamh thar láthair tithíochta don déanra atá ag fás go leanúnach. Mar a dúirt mé henne, tá na planathe atá forbatha agus corda a bhaim ag an airad Dara O'Brien agus ag déanamh chun cín súntasach agus atharú chun na maithas a henne féin fud fad na tíre. In the growing division of politics between those who want to solve problems and those who just want to exploit them, Minister O'Brien has shown his ability and his commitment to delivering the sustained action which is the only way of providing the homes our people need. Thank you.